Welcome to the Kelly Patrick Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. In today's episode, I am joined by returning guest. I have BJ Ferguson. BJ, welcome back on the show.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Appreciate you coming back on.
Yeah.
We got plenty we can always talk about. I know when I have you on the show, a lot of times we'll look at the next Hard Rock card and try to preview some of the fights, stuff like that. One of the things we were going to talk about, and I think it's a good thing to jump into at the beginning, is you've accepted a new position in your coaching journey.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. I'm a head jiu-jitsu coach at Triump Combat. It's in Louisville, 1010 Clarks Lane.
Right across the street from St. X High School.
Yeah, right across the street. Yeah, we got we've been having some good classes too. Like I started probably like officially like 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
But yeah, them guys were looking for a jiu-jitsu coach, and I had been training over there with them on Monday nights.
Yep.
I'd been going over there training with them, teaching a little bit of kickboxing, and they didn't have a good turnout for jiu-jitsu, and their jiu-jitsu coach was like, he was like, I'm done, like, or like he was ready to go, and they asked me, and I like it as I accepted it because I just for the challenge, because because the attendance was down, you want to, and you get to grow something from the beginning. That's good. I like that, because like
how many jiu-jitsu classes a week are you teaching?
just 3 classes a week.
You're teaching 3 a week. That's a lot.
I like that. That's
lot.
enough, because like over there they got a lot of fighters,
Uh-huh.
a lot of good strikers. They're more known as like a striker gym.
Okay.
A lot of the guys, I'd say almost every one of them compete in kickboxing, which I like that as well. For the fighters, to get
You say every one of them. You mean there's
every
no
one of the fighters.
Okay. Okay.
A
I
lot of
see.
gyms
I
would be
see.
like,
a lot
okay,
of times they're more so grapplers.
Yeah. Well, a lot of gyms
mixture.
too, like, you got a lot of guys, most of the guys that fight will also grapple. But, they're primarily kickboxers. There's some good grapplers over there, but, I'm excited to really, lock it in and like really get a real team together.
You all should get some type of a connection with the St. X wrestling team.
I know. I need to holler at them.
That
and be
wouldn't
like,
be
come
a,
over. Yeah.
that wouldn't be a
it'd
bad
great.
thing.
They got a really good program over there.
Oh yeah, that's about the best you could be across the street from.
And they got River City Wrestling too. That's I think that's like 5 years old. They got them in there.
Isaac Knable.
Yeah, I forgot a couple of their coaches they have over there. I know are like pretty good. They were pretty good wrestlers. I don't know about their coaching so far, but I know they're pretty decorated wrestlers they got over there, like nationwide.
Oh yeah.
Of course, they got the money to throw in the program. I would say. St. X does.
Nathan Haddad went there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot.
He's a stud too.
A long list of guys.
Pretty much everybody that you train with that was like, I wrestle at St. X, they're not a slouch.
Oh yeah.
Even if they wasn't like the good guy, they wasn't the starter. You're like, I wasn't that. They'll tell you like, I wasn't that good on my team, and then they like fucking roll you over. You're like, damn, you're pretty good, So
you're going to be teaching a little bit of kickboxing also?
Yeah, I teach. Well, I had before I did the kickbox or took over the jiu-jitsu, I had that Monday night at 6. I was doing a kickboxing class over there, and that really started by accident because it's real close to my house, so I would show up at 6. I would show up on Monday nights at first to kickbox to train because I was like, man, this is pretty convenient. It's like 5 minutes from my house, and I know these guys. I like these guys, so I stop in. I'm like, do a little kickboxing class, different people, a different technique. And then they was like, hey, why don't you show something? I show, like on that night. Then I did the next week, and then the next week, and then they were like, won't you just teach the Monday night class? And I'm like, okay, I'll do that. So when I took over the jiu-jitsu, one of the classes I wanted to have was Monday, but I didn't want to cancel my kickboxing class. I had guys coming that had been coming. I didn't want to take their class away. So it's a good night for me because that's kind of how back a long time ago when I had my own gym and we did MMA, that's what we did anyway. We would do just like I do. We would like, okay, we're going to do an hour jiu-jitsu. We'll take like a 15-minute break, and then we're going to do an hour kickboxing. That's kind of what I do. 6 to 7 on Monday nights, I'll do my regular kickboxing class for about an hour, and then we'll take like a 15-minute everybody, and then take like a 15-minute break because we go hard. So everybody that did kickboxing, you just chill, stretch a little bit. If you're just showing up at 7 for jiu-jitsu, we'll start warming up. You start warming up, so about 7:15, then I'll start. Just jump in, start technique, just standard jiu-jitsu class shit.
You guys doing gi stuff? No gi?
Yeah, we're doing gi on Saturday. Just Saturday, one gi class a week, which I like the gi.
Do you?
I mean, I'm primarily a no gi guy just because I did a lot of MMA.
Sure.
But when I started out, we did a lot of gi, and I think the gi is good for you. I like doing the gi. I think it's better. A lot of people like it too, and it's not all that, in my opinion, unrealistic. It's more unrealistic to have a bunch of guys with no shirts and spats grappling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of people try to be like, "Oh, nobody's gonna be wearing a gi in the street," but like, dude, in the wintertime, you're wearing a pair of blue jeans and a big jacket. You got a gi on.
Sure. Even in the summer, you normally got a t-shirt on.
Yeah, you can get the grips.
Something. Yeah.
Everything doesn't, but like a lot of my jujitsu too. I mean, it's kind of set up. The gi's just an addition. I'll do a lot of, even in the gi, sometimes I'll catch myself just because I've done so much no gi. Like, oh man, you gotta use your grips. Use your grips more. I think the gi is a good training tool. Like I always tell people, it's a lot harder to do stuff in the gi. A lot harder. You've got to kind of like, just a little example, like just a regular escape, like technical stand-up escape from a guard, right? Make a frame, get your hand back here, just regular stuff. If you can do that in a gi, you can definitely do it no gi. You've kind of got to put your hands, you've got to do it better. You can't do it sloppy in a gi.
Correct.
So if you carry that over, I think your gi really complements your no gi in a lot of ways.
And the no gi, you have the element of slipping through stuff. You're more slippery. I mean, so you can kind of get away with a little bit more sometimes in the no gi.
I like doing both.
Sure.
Because I always hated it. Because like I said, I started out in a gym, and we did a lot of gi, probably 75% gi, 25% no gi.
Could you introduce yourself from a jiu-jitsu perspective?
Oh, yeah, that'd be good.
Where'd you start at?
I started
I know
training,
we've done this in previous episodes,
Yeah.
but this is BJ Ferguson. You got your black belt, but what's your jiu-jitsu journey? Start from the beginning if you want.
Okay. Well, I always wanted to do jiu-jitsu since I seen like Hoist Gracie. So actually, it's kind of a funny story. I've actually lied to people when I was like a kid one time. Some kid was telling his mom, telling me, I was like 15, 14. And the kid was like, "Oh, I'm telling me about his like karate. He's on like a church trip or something." His mom's like, "Oh, he does," and I was like, "I actually do jiu-jitsu. I do a martial art too." That was a lie at the time, but it was kind of funny. Like that's how long I've been wanting to do jiu-jitsu. So, and I would like roll around with my friends and stuff. I would call myself like a backyard jiu-jitsu guy before I even got into it. But around 18. I was at a place, I don't even remember the guy's last name. I trained there for about a year. It was called Max Dojo. I wish I could find him because he was under Maganello. He was under Maganello. He's a blue belt under Maganello. This was 1999. Okay. So I started doing jiu-jitsu a long time before a lot of people.
Sure, 99.
Yeah, a lot of people, like there wasn't very many people doing jiu-jitsu.
I think mid-90s is when Mango started.
That's what I'm saying.
So he didn't start that much before you.
No.
And I think Mango maybe is the first or maybe second black belt in the state of Kentucky.
Well,
Mike O'Donnell might be number one.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is when I started, Mike O'Donnell was like a purple belt or something.
Okay.
Or a blue belt. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I trained for like a year, and it was funny. I'm trying to remember. It was a little bitty gym, but like we did nothing but like I think back at like it's kind of funny too, when you think back about things like this, like that dude was good. He would smoke my ass.
The blue belt.
Yeah. And Mac was a badass compared to me, but like we would do like scissor sweep, armbar, triangle, Kimura sweep. Yeah. That's all we did for like a year. Like I didn't learn any other shit.
Well,
like there was no fancy shit. Yeah, I mean,
the foundation.
And we have. I think there was like 4 other people. Part of the reason it kind of shut down, there was like 4 other people than me. You know, it was like me and like 4 guys,
Was
and they
one
were all
of
kind
them
of big.
either your Josh maybe?
No, this is
This was
before.
all you.
Josh was like 12
Okay.
or
Okay.
11, maybe. You know.
Okay.
So then I trained there for like a year, and then it like shut down. I guess no one was coming, right? So then I think I didn't. Then I started training in like backyard. I'd be like then I had like a boxing ring in the garage, and we was really training for MMA because I wanted to be an MMA fighter. That's the whole reason I got into jiu-jitsu to begin with, anyway, is I wanted to be an MMA fighter. So I'm like, I gotta learn jiu-jitsu. So that's how I got started with jiu-jitsu, you know. And then probably I'm trying to think when it was that I got back into it seriously. It must have been like 04, 05.
Okay. So 99 to 2000,
And
you
then
did like a year or two.
I quit for a while, you know. I was still training, but just with my buddies, and like like at the time too. Uh, I lived in when I started training jiu-jitsu. I lived in Taylorsville for like a year. I only lived in Taylorsville for like a year, but it was in Mount Washington where Max Dojo was. Wish I could remember this dude's name. I need to like find him. But so because he'd be like, "Damn, you're black belt. That'd be cool," you know. Like, but and then I started training jujitsu with Mike Yanez and my brother. Actually, around the same time my brother started training with Mike Yanez. It was a little bit before that too, because I was like, we want to do MMA, right? Me and my brother. So I knew a couple guys. So he started training with Mike Yanez actually before me, and I started training with Eric Haycraft
Okay,
at
I
the
remember
core
that. So Josh started training with
jujitsu,
Yanez Jiu-Jitsu.
and I would train with Eric Haycraft, and then we would teach each other. That was kind of like, okay, you go do jujitsu. I'll do, you know, I already did some
You've
jujitsu.
done some Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, yeah, and was pretty good, you know, compared to most people. I wouldn't say I was like a blue belt or anything, but like
Couple years versus
I was
nothing.
pretty good.
Sure,
Yeah,
yeah.
like my friends, I would like tap them out easily. You know how it is when you know a little bit of jujitsu. It's a lot compared to somebody who don't know nothing. So we did that for probably like another year, and then I was like, man, I need to train with them because they're doing the MMA. That's what I wanted to do. Like Haycraft and them was doing the kickboxing.
Mm.
You know, I never really wanted to be a kickboxer.
So was
anyway.
this before Haycraft was really going with Brent Weedman all in?
Brent Weidman was there. That was around that time.
Okay.
No, he just started, I think.
Okay.
Like really
Okay.
kick it
Okay.
off. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But Brent had been training. Brent was
Okay.
already good. Yeah, he was a little stud. I rode with Brent Weidman when he was like 15 years old. One
Did you really? Okay.
Because actually, I'm leaving some of the story out.
Okay.
Okay, because I did a little bit of martial arts in between that time with another guy named Adam Perry, and he was like a brown belt in judo, and we grappled too, and he's a pretty good grappler too. I think he's one of the guys with Iron Monkey Grappling Club. You heard of them? In E-Town.
Okay. Yep.
Or no, in Bardstown.
I had heard something about
Yeah,
that recently.
they got like a big team out there.
Yeah.
So I did grapple
Kinda
with
new,
that guy
right?
a little bit, and one time we went to Toshi's Judo. This is actually a pretty cool story too, because we go there and Brent Weeman's dad's there. I rode with Brent Weeman and his dad. Brent Weeman was like 15. He was like a kid, and then I remember seeing him later on, and be like, "Dude, this dude is a stud now." He was pretty good when he was 15, but he was still 15, right?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was an adult already, right? But his dad, I grappled with his dad. His dad was a stud too. But that was at Toshi's Judo.
Okay. Where's
So they
that?
would meet. It was in J-Town somewhere. It's not there anymore.
Okay.
But everybody that did judo back in the day and now, they all trained at Toshi's at one time. That was like the judo place, you know. So then later on, I get with Mike Yanez, my brother, Mike Yanez, Chewy. Chewy was on the team at the time, the Highlander team.
So this was like 05 or something.
I think 05 or 06 when we really
Okay.
started hammering down. Really started getting that. I really started training with people that was good consistently. I would say that would, you know, really be like, okay, I'm gonna focus on actually getting in shape. Because like around this whole time, like I'm like the time I did the jiu-jitsu with Mike, I did the training with Adam Perry, I was partying pretty hard too. You know, I was living a life like a normal early 20s guy. You know, I'm drinking, I'm, you know, like then when I started training out there, I started training.
I do appreciate you sharing those details too.
Yeah, I was, you know, I was
Gotta
not
be honest.
No, I was not. I was, it's one thing. Like most people, like you know what I mean. When you get to like a level where you want to be somebody in this sport, like, dude, you gotta live right, dude. You got to do.
Mm.
I got a realization. Okay, I got to start being an athlete
Were
and
you
train
doing
like
that?
athlete.
Were you living the right way? At a certain point?
Yeah,
Okay, at a certain point, you got it together.
yeah. After a couple years, I'd say '07,
Okay, okay.
'08. Then I was like, okay, I'm serious. I'm serious. Once I started fighting, I realized I can't get away with this shit. I can't be, doing the things I do because I mean, I would stay a little bit till like I'd say to '09. I would do some dumb shit. As far as like, I remember having like a couple weeks ago, like in fight camp, I'd be like a couple weeks out and be like, I'm gonna go get drunk tonight. I'll be fine, and I would be fine because I was a young man. I could get away with the shit. I couldn't get away with it now.
You remember that video of the guy going, I do not snort
Yeah.
PCP anymore.
Kind of like
Now,
that.
and then,
Yeah.
well, I mean, maybe if it, and then his
Well, I'd
story ends
say
up changing. So
yeah. Well,
is that where this is?
no, not really. I would tighten it up really. As far as like what I mean by that too is like the actual training. Like I would train hard and train right, and
But you might have a night off occasionally if you get
yeah,
drunk.
but like when you're fighting too, like you don't have a lot of especially in like lower weight classes, you're trying to make weight. You don't have a lot of room to
Can't really be
fuck around.
can't be messing with your diet.
Yeah, and like oh,
Whoops.
I'm gonna drink. I'm gonna get yeah. You can't really do that because we was fighting a lot. I think when I started out, I think my second fight was 2 weeks after my first fight, and my third fight was like a month after that. And I fought like
What year?
8 times in a year.
What year was your? You were born in '81, right? What year was your first MMA fight?
I was old. I think I was 25 or 26.
Okay.
I was old for MMA for sure, but I mean, not compared to everybody. I didn't feel that old because it was kind of like the birth of MMA around here anyway.
Were you a blue belt when you had your first fight, or still a white
I
belt?
think I was a blue belt. Yeah, I think I was a blue belt.
Okay. What did you compete in for combat sports first? What was your first combat sports competition?
Jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu. Okay. And Yanez would have you guys compete in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, he loved it. He loved it. I actually competed before that. I actually competed when I trained with Mac,
Okay.
and I competed once at trying to think.
Was it in Louisville?
It was
Could have
at
been Mango's
Tom Sawyer.
yeah, Mango's thing at
Yeah,
Tom Sawyer.
yeah. I think I was winning my match, and then I ended up getting like cross collar choked. Because I wasn't. It was pretty good. I was winning on points, but that was a long time ago. But under Yanez, we competed a good amount, especially as like white belts and blue belts. He loved to give people. He loved people to compete. He's real big on that. Like you got to go. You got to go out there and compete. He'll tell me that now if I talk to him right now. And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to get in shape. I'm trying to get back in there. I
Ha-
wouldn't mind competing in jiu-jitsu actually. Now that I'm old,
What year did you get your black belt? Who'd you
mm,
get it from?
Mike Yanez. Damn, I don't know. It wasn't that long ago, honestly. Probably 4 or 5 years ago.
That you got your black belt?
Think so.
Really?
I was a brown belt for 9 years.
But it seems to me like not I
Maybe.
remember Isaiah getting his black belt 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay, maybe it was.
Yeah, so I think it's more like
maybe
8 years.
6 or 7. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. Time flies. But I was a brown belt for like 9 years.
Okay.
Because me and like Mike, I mean, I was still teaching jujitsu the whole time, but like me and Mike Yanez had like a little falling out. So I was like, kind of, what would you call it? Like a rowing. I didn't have no master.
Nomad.
No master. Yeah. But that's fine too. Like everything works out like it should. We got a good relationship now.
Is he doing good? He beat cancer, is that right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. He's doing good. He's he's living it up in Tampa, man. He's doing all right. Like I said, we got a real good relationship now. It's kind of like a parent, like when you move out.
Little distance.
A little distance.
Little
Yeah.
distance serve you. No, that's true.
Because we
sometimes.
butted heads, man, back in the day. Like he'll tell you himself. Like we did not do. Like we had some.
Really?
Yeah, and Mike's a. I'm sure he would admit he's a character. He's got his ways, and
I've
he's.
never met him in person, but I've interviewed him here on the show twice, and he always says really, really entertaining stuff when I interview him. So I
Yeah, no,
appreciate that.
he's
I
a
do
really.
appreciate that.
I tell you what, man, he is a really good coach. I can remember back in the day, too. Like that was a really fun time in my life. Like training under Mike, and like when Highlander was like kicking off, and like He's a good coach, man. He's taught me a lot for real. And he's a really good motivator too. Like I can remember. I mean, it's so long ago. Like I can't remember stuff like verbatim, you know. But I can remember after class, like everybody sitting around, like him giving like speeches, and he's like, "Fuck, like this is some motivational shit."
Really? Yeah.
He's good at it. Yeah, he still is.
He was a good high school wrestler, wasn't he?
I think he was pretty good. Yeah, out of Oldham County. That's kind of how he got into jiu-jitsu. Is like he actually got into jiu-jitsu. I think what you would consider to be late too. I think he was early 20, maybe early 20s or so. But like he was wrestled, and then he moved. I think he lived in Louisville and then moved back to Florida with his parents. And then that's when he was like, "Oh, I need to do something." He wrestled in Oldham County, but yeah, he'll give you some fucking speeches, dude. We've had I was actually telling this story the other day. We did this thing like on the wall of the gym was all painted like 300 too. It was like had like a mural. He must have left 300, but we had this thing where he would say like, "Highlander, what is your profession?" And we would all go, "Oh, oh, oh," and we would do that at fights. Like after we would beat people, it had to be annoying to other people. Like other teams, like right now, I'm thinking like, damn, that I would think like this was fucking. These guys was fucking douchebags, but back in the day, it was real fucking cool.
You enjoyed doing it.
We enjoy. It was just cool. Like
yeah, it sounds like fun.
One time,
well, that's good for team unity and shit like that. And if someone gets real offended by that, I mean, fuck them.
We had the team unity for sure. I mean, we had the fucking. I mean, back in the day too. Like I didn't like other teams. Like for real, I probably would. There would have been situations where I probably would have like followed them or something. Like in the street, like if we met out somewhere and be like, "This other team's over here," I really didn't like them, and that was part of the. That was kind of the thing. We had that going on, like
it's a fight team. I mean,
we're a fight team. We're about to fight them guys. We don't like them guys. We hate them guys. They're trying to beat up our friends. Now it's a little more relaxed. People are a little more, which that's fine too. But like that's not how we were back in the day. But like I was talking, like we had one where Josh fought this guy. I'm trying to think of this guy's name. He was a pretty good kickboxer, Robbie Walker Jr. But it was up in. Dude had a lot of kickboxing fights, but it was like 100. Like he was a real good kickboxer. But we was up in Ohio, like Dayton, Ohio, and that's where they're from. They was from there.
I think I know who that fighter is.
Okay,
I think I commentated one of his fights.
Okay, so this is back in the day. I can't even remember the year. It probably was 08, 09, whatever. His sister got murdered.
Oh my god.
Okay, and then this was like a fight to celebrate. Like her, like a memorial fight. But they brought Josh in, I guess, thinking he was going to lose or whatever. So there might have been 20 of us up there in Dayton, Ohio. Like counting our fight team, maybe counting our fans, you could say like 40 people.
Yep, that's him, Sandman.
Yeah.
It says that he fought Josh.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're up there. Like I said, this is packed, man. I mean, it's a big. It was kind of like LFA-ish. Like if you was at the LFA in Louisville, that's about what I would say the crowd size it was. So at the end of the fight ends, Josh ends up armbarring him in the first round, And then, so we're walking out, and there's probably 20 of us. It's silent. And you get Giannis like, "Highlander, what is your profession?" Oh. And we're like doing that all the way out, I was like, damn, that's. And I've heard.
It was silent.
It was silent, yeah. But then I've heard from other people, later on too, to be like, "Oh yeah, we fucking hated that. We hated y'all do that." And I'm like, yeah. But it was cool. It was cool when you were there doing it, yeah. But yeah, we had a good team back in the day. We had Chewy was on the team. He was, very famous.
Yeah, he's done well for himself.
Yeah, he has. He was kind of like our champion, I would say. Like the best student. I can remember going to some tournaments and like Chewy like eating them up and being like, yeah.
And he had a pretty good MMA career.
Yeah. Or somebody getting beaten and being like, okay. Like watching them in the tournament and be like, oh, Chewy's going to get his ass. He ain't going to get past Chewy. Usually, yeah, we was right, yeah. Yeah, he did pretty good. What did I think he had a couple pro fights too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then he's found a niche with the YouTube advice.
I know he's really good at it. Yeah,
Jujitsu,
he's really good. It's so funny too. I was at a seminar down in Montgomery, Alabama. Like we had the Highlander Summit there every year, except for last year we did, or since Mike got sick, we haven't done it, but we got to do it again. But somebody was there talking to Mike and me, and like, y'all know like that jiu-jitsu guy, isn't he from Louisville? Because they knew I was from Louisville. We're like, yeah, we know him. It's funny too. He's like people know him as jiu-jitsu,
Sure.
Yeah. I like Chewy.
Yeah, no, he's always been a very good, nice guy. I rolled with him only one time. I think I was a white or maybe a blue belt, and it was at Derby City. And I was visiting Derby City, and he politely was, "I'll roll with you." He didn't submit me. I could tell he was being nice. He could have done whatever. Could have done whatever he wanted.
Yeah,
he's a big guy who's got real, almost like little guy skills. It feels like, but he's real big and strong. He used to fuck
me up back in the day too. Yeah. I think that helped me develop my jiu-jitsu though, because when I first started with them guys, when I first started training jiu-jitsu with good guys, I would say.
Doesn't hurt.
We had Mike Yanez, Chewy. There's a couple other guys that were just huge, man. And Joe Heinck was one of them. Joe Heinck, I don't know if you know Joe Heinck.
I do. I saw him at yoga the other day.
He's a stud.
Yeah.
And he was just so strong. He was one of them guys where he'd grab you in a Kimura and you're like, it's a fucking wrap, buddy.
I saw him at yoga and he said, "Hey man, hey, come here. I don't always agree with your Facebook posts.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate that you talk about controversial stuff," or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, that's cool. Yeah.
Because they would beat the shit out of me.
And I've only heard that Joe is a beast. I don't think I've rolled with him. I was in the gym with him once, but he looks like he's a very nice guy.
Me and Joe kind of started this pretty close at the same time.
Fireman, right?
Yeah. We kind of was this at the same time during all that. He was a good fighter too. He had some fights. So we had them big guys. So I had to be crafty, man. I can remember, and when we first started too, we had because we actually started with Yanez and them at this place called Achieve. Achieve Martial Arts, and it was a Japanese jiu-jitsu gym over on Shelbyville Road. But he just rented out the spot. We had this spot from 8 to 9:30. That's when we trained jiu-jitsu a few times a week. But the guys, so then after that we moved to Metamorphosis Gym, and then finally on Frankfort Avenue, and that's where it really popped off around that area. But the guys were so big and so strong. The first I don't think I tapped anybody out for it might have been 6 or 7 months.
And that was after you had already done a year or two.
Yeah. They was just so big and so better.
Pretty good, maybe almost blue belt level. But then you go in with Joe Heinck, Chewy.
Yeah. And Yanez, that's when Yanez was really
big, strong guy also.
Yeah. He could row too.
I don't mean just big and strong, but good grappler.
Yeah, he's pretty good. But they had we didn't have very many members. I would say it was more like a club.
Okay.
At first. It was so we didn't have I remember thinking that I sucked ass. I kept coming back and I'm like, dude, I fucking suck, dude. Everybody beats the shit out of me. And then finally a new guy came in and I was tapping him out damn, I'm actually pretty good. It kind of happens to you in jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu's all about that type of
from
stuff.
Where you
it's
are.
Weird. Yeah.
I always tell people your jiu-jitsu skill is growing up. If you sit there and try to watch yourself and every day, you're gonna get frustrated with your results. You gotta check back in 6 months, put that, you put the little mark on the wall when you're growing. You can't check it every day. You're gonna be I ain't did shit. You gotta wait, give it time. That's why some people it's a hard thing to stick with too, because it's really humility. Pretty wrapped up, because I've
constant dose of humility,
because you really hit at a certain level too, it really nothing's gonna help you. If you're super athletic, yeah, that's gonna help you against some people, or whatever. But at a certain point, it's dude, you're gonna get humbled, you're gonna get tapped out. I've never really met anybody that's good at jiu-jitsu,
just kind of good, just for no reason, really. Just
I mean, I've seen people that's damn, this guy's talented, he's gonna be good. There's a guy right now I'm training with it. I'm like, dude, I can't believe you've been training for a month. Like, you're fucking that good.
Okay.
But still not,
Yeah,
he still gets his ass tapped out, right?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to come in, and people think for some reason that they'll be good at it.
Sometimes they do, don't they?
Yeah. And wrestlers do that too.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I'm like, wrestlers, I mean, I love y'all to death. When you start learning some jujitsu, you really are deadly. But wrestling without jujitsu, it really ain't shit either. You're still gonna get tapped out.
Certainly, if you're training jujitsu,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
allowed
yeah,
to do submissions.
yeah. Because y'all do a lot of dumb shit. I've been rolling with a few wrestlers recently, high school guys. Pretty good. And they're gonna like. I try to keep them. As a coach, I'm coaching. I try to keep them positive and be like, hey, you're gonna be good, dude. Don't get frustrated. A guy the other day kept getting tapped out and like telling me how much he sucks. And I'm like, dude, you're like 19. You wrestled. You're just doing the dumb shit wrestlers do, man. You're just doing the dumb shit. Once you learn what not to do, you're gonna do well. It's not easy.
Is that what running a jujitsu program is? Is you got to be ready to have those types of those types of talks with people, right? That's kind of what you're signing up for there. Is you're gonna have some 19-year-olds telling you, "Hey, man, why do I suck so bad?"
Yeah, like there's a lot of questions, like that there's not a lot of good answers for either, too. It's hard. You kind of got to be like a
Just
little
keep coming in, man.
Yeah, you got to be a little bit of psychiatrist too. You got to learn some people. Everybody isn't the same. Everybody's not going to be the same motivation, and like quit looking at people like that too.
Quit comparing yourself.
Quit comparing yourself, and coaches quit comparing people too. That's one thing I've learned too. Like as a coach, like dude, I'm not going to expect. I know, like, and that doesn't make it worse or better. I know this guy right here is never going to be what this guy can be, right?
Sure.
He's just not going to be. It doesn't matter. He's on his journey. This guy's on his journey. A lot of people get caught up in like trying to, I guess it's cliche, right? Like you want to be this guy. You want to be this guy, but like be better than you was. And that's what you need to be.
Don't compare yourself to someone else.
Yeah, yeah.
Gym. Certainly not someone you're training with or something.
Yeah, because that's just gonna fuck you up, But like at the same time, like in a level of competitiveness, like we had something go down. These dudes were rolling fucking crazy the other day, and I was like, damn, these dudes really. But then I thought, like, you want to be the top dog.
They were going hard.
They were going hard, but like, especially in a gym, like if you're in there, like, hey, I want to learn jujitsu. Everybody's got their reasons, right? There's all kinds of reasons. Like I had a guy one time like come in and like tell me like, oh, I wanted to train because his ex-wife married a guy and the guy was kind of acting a fool. And I was like, damn, I've never thought of this because I've been able to fight since, as long as I can remember. Like I've never really worried about self-defense. That's real. But like then I was like, damn, that's fucking crazy. I've never thought about that. But this is a normal human being, right? But I got off task. I got ADD.
That's okay. I was saying that's what being a jiu-jitsu coach is. You're going to talk to some 19-year-olds or some 60-year-old maybe who's saying, "Man, I just started and I'm horrible. I might quit.
I want to move." Yeah. But then, but like I was saying, like okay, if you want to, that's the difference between okay, we want to. If you got competitors, you're gonna have a level.
It's a different animal.
Yeah, you're gonna have to treat them. You're gonna have to. Well, and you gotta look. If the competitors, you gotta look around that room and be like, I want to be the baddest motherfucker in here. And then you know what makes it even better? If you got 3 or 4 other motherfuckers that are looking around that room saying, I want to be the baddest dude. Because then, I tell people that if we're doing like some drills, I do this drill called like a scramble drill. And I'll be like, look around you. You want to be the fastest guy. So then you got everybody trying to beat everybody. And it's just going to take it to the next level.
I love it. What are the times and days of your jiu-jitsu classes? So you do the Monday.
Right now I'm doing Monday, Fridays, and Saturdays.
Monday, Fridays, and Saturdays.
And over there at Triump Combat, like they got Damon Bell, kickboxing. Cam, he does the boxing. So I mean they got some good coaches over there. Like to fill in the weeks. Because at first I was like, man, I need a Wednesday class, but I didn't want to take anybody's class. So I was like, I need 3 classes a week. 3 classes a week is enough. Especially if you want to be a fighter and you're supplement. If you're doing 3 or you're throwing in some kickboxing and all that. just for the fighters. But you can get in there, train your striking. I like when people do that. If you want to just do jiu-jitsu, that's fine. But
you might make fun of them if they do just jiu-jitsu and no striking.
I'm not going to, because like I said, it doesn't matter.
You'll think that
You
might think that you.
No, I'm just saying, just get in there and try it, buddy.
Do at least a little striking.
Do a little striking. I say that about strikers in jiu-jitsu too.
Okay.
Like you don't have to. I don't need you to be as good as me, or like to be like dedicate your life to it. But man, know what's up. Have a little idea of jiu-jitsu. It's going to help you. If you want to be a martial artist.
Yeah, in case you ever have to actually use anything that you're practicing. Yeah. Because if you just train jiu-jitsu, like if I hadn't done any boxing or anything, I think naturally I may have been pretty easy to punch. Because you don't really move. You don't really move the right way to avoid getting punched and stuff.
Well, striking's a lot like jiu-jitsu. Like nobody's really that great.
Just naturally.
No.
Yeah, at all.
No, they're not that good.
Yeah,
I mean, you can be, like I said, there's difference between, of course, a 23-year-old athlete's going to be a lot different.
Division I pitcher,
60-year-old. Oh, I was a wide receiver in college.
Yeah.
You're going to be pretty okay if you start learning. Sure. But you're still not going to be that great.
Sure.
Your technique's going to be ass. But yeah, I always wanted everybody to be well-rounded, because to me that's jiu-jitsu anyway. I'm not gonna, jiu-jitsu's fighting to me. That's how I've always been. Like I don't really say like, okay, jiu-jitsu is like sport jiu-jitsu, for example. And I'll do that like on Friday nights. That'd be a good segue into like kind of what I do. Monday nights, we do no-gi jiu-jitsu. Okay. Friday nights, I do what I call jiu-jitsu for MMA. That's like, because there's a lot of stuff, and you know that from training jiu-jitsu as long as you have, and y'all have y'all's glove weeks and all that.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff that you learn in jiu-jitsu that's not really relative to especially in sport jiu-jitsu. Like there's a lot of stuff that personally I wouldn't do.
Lots of it, yeah.
I mean,
if strikes are involved.
If strikes are involved, just like
I'm not going to pull guard this way.
But you need to
scoot up to you.
But like some of the moves too, like I would even consider something that, and some people might argue with me. I think like a deep half.
Kind of silly
shit.
Yeah, not
in my opinion
for real.
Yeah, I'm going to elbow the shit out of you.
Sure.
I mean, if you're good enough, you'll probably get it and sweep me. But if you're not that good, sure, I'm going to elbow the shit out of you.
Maybe you may have to use it briefly in an MMA fight defensively to get the hell out of that position.
But I'm just saying, like, okay, an example would be, but damn, it's a really good fucking sweep. If you're just doing jiu-jitsu.
Oh, yeah.
There's people that get you in that bitch and you're going to get swept. Best case scenario. You know what I mean? Same thing with like a lot of the leg locks. Look at sport jiu-jitsu. Dominated by leg lockers. There's a reason, because it's fucking good. You know what I'm saying? But go look at the UFC and like the stats on submissions. Leg locks are not very high. A lot of people get fucked up doing them.
Did you see? There was the MMA card that I commentated May 31st in Bowling Green. Eric Moore out of Derby City.
Yeah,
got caught in a leg lock. Didn't tap. I was doing commentary. I'm like, oh my God, it
fucked his knee up, didn't it?
It looks bad. Oh God, go ahead. He didn't tap. He had Patrick Bliss and Ben Fowler in his corner. They were kind of coaching him through it. I was like, wow, he didn't tap. He comes out, he wins the fight.
Yeah.
I think he's out for like 4 or 5, 6 months, or I don't know how long he's out.
Oh yeah, well,
3-4 months or something. But his knee
somebody
was pretty
gets you in a heel hook.
He got the win though.
Yeah, somebody gets. Well, I mean, see that to me, kind of silly.
Yeah, and I think he would say it's kind of silly.
Yeah, but
he's joking on himself.
But I'm saying at the highest level, dude, like we're fighting for fucking $500,000.
Yeah, that's maybe a different story.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you. I got UFC will fix my knee. I'm gonna hurt you. But like that's one of the things. Like when I started doing jiu-jitsu, it was all about MMA.
For you,
it was all
on your journey.
Yeah.
You said Hoist Gracie was what you saw first.
Yeah, and I was like, I
always wanted the jiu-jitsu version of MMA.
Jiu-jitsu is fighting. To me, jiu-jitsu is fighting. Like if somebody sprawls on me or somebody shoots on me and I sprawl, and then I grab them by their hair and knee them in the face, that's still jiu-jitsu to me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's just fighting. But like that's how I've always been, But that's why I like for my guys too. Like I want you to be a fighter. And I don't mean that I want you to fight.
You don't have to get in the MMA
Hell
cage
no, I don't
necessarily.
care.
Yeah.
Like what if if you're a doctor or something? If you train with me and you're a doctor, I don't want you to fight MMA. That's stupid. But I want you to be able to fight.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I like a lot of that. Like
When you do your kickboxing classes, I like how you'll do 3 rounds of sometimes of just boxing,
yeah,
3 rounds of just kickboxing, sometimes something like that,
yeah.
and then maybe mix in takedowns and different things like that. So it's kind of isolating the different parts of.
Yeah, it makes it better for learning. Makes it easier. There's another thing I do too where I call it, I mean, a lot of people do it, but I call it shoot boxing, where like you box, but you can do takedowns too.
Yeah, no kicks.
It changes the game up a little
Sure,
bit because
yeah.
the kicks make it kind of scary, the knees can, but it really lets you get that timing for the takedowns, you know?
That is fun. I like doing that.
Yeah, I like
I've
that.
only done it when you're leading the class, but I agree. That's a fun kind of like a game almost.
Yeah. Because, well, I mean, same thing with the jujitsu. I like to do a lot of jujitsu with, just like on Friday nights where we do the jujitsu for our mate. We like add the ground and pound in there, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna if I take somebody's back in the street, I might not just go for the choke. I might soften them up a little bit. Get that, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna use them strikes. That is jujitsu. Like you watch fucking. I mean, that wasn't primarily doing it, but if you watch like Hicks and Gracie and then back in the day in the Gracie challenges, they was punching.
Hmm.
It wasn't a primary means, but they was punching to open up to
Or at
give
least
them.
slapping or
Yeah,
stuff like
to
that.
give
Yeah.
get the opportunities to get the submissions.
You mean those old Gracie
Yeah,
challenge
like
videos from the 80s?
I'm saying the essence of jujitsu
Sure.
is
Okay.
fighting. It's not, I'm not shitting on them like all the sport guys, the competition guys. I'm not shitting on them at all. They're fucking badass, but it's something different.
Okay.
You know what I
In
mean?
your jujitsu program, you're building at Triumph Combat across the street from St. X High School is consistent with more of a fighting brand of jujitsu.
I like to do that. I like to do that. Like I said, like on Monday nights, when we do no gi, Saturday we do gi. I'll do some stuff that I maybe wouldn't do, but like come to the Friday class so you can learn what you actually do in the fight. You know what I'm saying? I'll do some because a lot of the moves, like I said, if you throw out everything, you definitely because some people want to do jujitsu competitions and you gotta help them. There's gonna be moves
Sure.
there's a lot of them where I feel like, I would never do that, and like I've kind of limited my jujitsu. I would say, like my jujitsu is kind of a simple jujitsu in my opinion. I mean, I got some
You
tricky
do
moves.
arm bar, pretty slick arm bars.
Yeah, but like what I mean by that is like there was a lot of stuff where like coming up, I'd be like, I'm never gonna do that
Hmm.
because I was always a fighter. Like I would see somebody like, okay, I'm gonna do an inversion or whatever.
Imanari roll.
Yeah, or that has its uses sometimes, but like you see like the inversion or like the what's the new shit? Like I'm not big on the new shit, but like the little K guard and all that. I'm like, dude, I'll fucking Donkey Kong your head. Like, get down on me like that in a real fight. I'm gonna fucking hammer fist you. That ain't gonna work. But like, I understand it, right? I understand like this is a good guard. Same thing with like the Z guard. Not, this is good stuff.
And maybe someone could get real good at it. Maybe it could work a little in maybe in
It could,
MMA.
yeah. It's
But
all about
but you
levels,
don't
right?
see it as worth that to be kind of what you're
Well,
spending a lot of your
what I
time
what
doing.
I'm what
Doesn't seem
I'm
like the highest percentage approach to MMA.
what I mean by that is me personally.
Oh, I see.
I would always just be like, eh.
That's not it's not practical.
So some stuff I'm not even that good at. I'll go ahead and tell you some of the stuff I'm not that good at because I just never did it. I'd be like, no, I'll never do that in MMA. But like I think the more of a a lot of times that's like the simple approach is actually pretty damn good.
Sure. And then
You
to be
know.
able to defend against everything through
Yeah,
rolling and
yeah, yeah.
practicing
You got to
defenses.
know your defenses, but a lot of times like I tell people like a lot of times it's more of a positional game than anything. Well, you need to remember that. It's something to remember about jujitsu because when I've rolled with the best people I've ever rolled with, And you could probably watch this in real time if you really like watch. Like go like next time you're in class. Like, okay, let me watch these two dudes. I know this dude's really good, and this dude's not as good. Like, let's just see. This guy's better, right? You'll see that it's not that the guy, the the not as good guy, couldn't catch him in a submission. He can't never put him in the position to get to a good submission, right?
He's never got the angles down. It's
He's never mounting this guy. He's never got this guy's back and got his hooks in. He never, you know, the good guys never let you get that far. So really, same thing with jiu-jitsu. It's like, dude, if you, it's kind of hard to tap somebody if you can't pass their guard, right? You know, especially in a closed guard situation. Like I tell people, like, get two guys down. This guy's in his closed guard or whatever. This guy's on top. How many submissions does the guard guy have? Fucking lot.
Yeah.
If you're talking about variations, like it could be like 100.
Oh yeah.
I always joke around and be like, I have 146 because I heard some guy say it one time and I was like, this motherfucker counted them. He did not count them. But anyway, the guy in the guard, he doesn't have that many, if any, good ones. Not against somebody good. But now let's go ahead and put the guy on top inside control.
I guess can opener from in.
There's weird shit, or like, but like, let's take the same guy on top and put him inside control.
Okay, see what he's got.
How many submissions does he have now?
Oh yeah,
he's got a lot. Sure. He's got Kimura, Americana, you know, he neon belly armor. You know, there's a lot. How many submissions does the guy inside control have? He went from having 146 submissions. To maybe like a arm bar if you get your
okay. You know so it's truly a positional game.
It's truly a positional game if you start looking at where you can actually submit people from.
Would you say an embodiment of your jiu-jitsu approach that I have seen? I commentated Isaiah's fight against Justin King, who's a Division I wrestler, and Isaiah kind of just out-grappled him with positional type stuff, is my memory.
Yeah. Well,
that's kind of showing what you're describing, right?
Yeah, yeah. He had his back. I really thought he would get the choke. But like we watched like the tapes and like Justin was like really, it was easy.
Tough to choke.
It was easy to get his back, but it was hard to choke him. But then like it got to the point in the fight where I was like, okay, take him down. I didn't know if Isaiah was going to be able to take him down because he is a really good wrestler. I wasn't sure about that, but I've seen Isaiah out wrestle some pretty good wrestlers, right? But I figured if he tried to take Isaiah down, it was going to end up like that, right? He was going to be able to work to get his back, you know, using jiu-jitsu. But like once he got his back, then I was like, just keep his back, just maintain the back, you know, try to get the choke. But then it kind of went to the second round. Now we're prize fighting. So, you know, we're going to the third round. Just keep his fucking back. You'll win the fight. Take somebody's back and you stay on their back for 3 rounds. You're probably going to win the fight.
3 5-minute rounds. He kind of just won with just superior control and position, right?
Which surprised a lot of people because they kind of figured Justin would out wrestling.
If it would have went via a grappling decision, that it would have went to Justin.
That's the thing about MMA too, where it's like the positional is very important because like, and to me like that kind of fucked my game up a while too. Like a lot of times, you know how they got the new tournaments where they're like submission only. I kind of did that shit anyway. I mean, I did some tournaments going up, but like I did MMA. Like I didn't give a fuck if somebody passed my guard, it wasn't the end of the world for me. I'm gonna fucking regain my guard, or I'm gonna fucking get out, and we're gonna be back again. So
you're not worried about points. You're going for the finish.
I'm worried about points, you know. But I mean, you can see where the points
are reflective of position a lot of times.
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of why they set it up like that, you know. But like I've trained with people where they like pass your guard. Like I used to train with a dude, which he fucking smoked my ass. He would a lot. Dave Riley, he's pretty good. He's black belt. I think he's got a big school in Arizona. He did pretty well for himself, but he trained back at Highlander. But he would like he did a lot of competition. He didn't fight MMA. He did a lot of competition. I think he might have fought once or twice. He was a good grappler, but in the gym, he would like take me down and get me in side control and like hold me till the fucking timer ran out. Like he was training to like win competitions, you know? I
see.
And I'm sitting there like, dude, let me fucking work. He was that good though. You know, he was that good.
To his credit, he could do it.
He could do it. Yeah. Yeah. It's my job to get out.
Sure.
That's why I tell people, don't cry. Don't cry when somebody takes you down. Like even in an MMA fight, people's always like, oh man, he just held me down. Shit, I've had it happen to me a few times. Bitch, That's the name of the game. You got to get up. You know, that's on you. But the funny thing about Dave Riley too is like I would heel hook him because I had some leg locks back in the day, and I could tap him out. But like then it kind of got to where I was like, sometimes I feel like heel hooks are like it's kind of an out.
It's kind of like a neutralizer. You can get someone who's better than you with a heel hook.
You can, but like for me, it was always an out. Like Dave would.
What do you mean an out?
Like I knew I couldn't get Dave
without that.
Without the heel hook.
Oh, I see.
So I would reach into that pocket. Oh, Dave's beat my ass too long. I got to heel hook him because he didn't train leg locks. That's the thing too with a leg lock game. Like a lot of people are like, oh, I don't like the leg locks. I'm like, you better fucking learn to like them a little bit because these guys are going. If you want to compete, these motherfuckers are going to get you in them.
Sure, or even just train.
Yeah,
Nogi,
it's hard.
Yeah,
yeah. But like Dave would be like, you grab his foot and he'd be like, oh. You know, I don't want to shit on Dave because, like I said, Dave's a fucking tremendous grappler. He's a better grappler than me. But like I had that little out on him. I'm sure he's learned now. This was a long time ago. But yeah.
Will you be teaching much leg lock stuff in your jiu-jitsu program?
Yeah, I'll get into it a little bit. A guy was wanting to do it the other day. We got this Indian guy. I'm trying. I always say his name wrong. Sabib. He's a fucking tough dude. He's been training. You know, he's trained for. He kept wanting to fucking like.
He's been watching YouTube.
I guess so, man. But then he's like fucking out of control, like grabbing the legs. Like,
yeah.
And I see him like cranking on him. And I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna fucking teach you how to do this, right? Because you're trying to fucking rip these motherfuckers.
Yeah, I've heard people say you should focus on like passing guard, sit up, sweep, stuff like that way before doing leg attacks.
Well, you know, I think it's a disservice to your game a little bit. Like if you get to a certain level, right? Yeah, you need to start doing these leg locks, right? But like here's the problem with leg locks. Just like I would give you the same thing about like me and Dave. Like, dude, I wouldn't pass Dave's guard, and I never fucking did. And I never fucking even learned to because I would fucking straight ankle lock his ass when I was in his guard because I knew I couldn't pass his guard. Okay. So like I didn't, you know, what if I wouldn't have had that move? Maybe I would have been a fucking better grappler because I would have learned to fucking pass Dave's guard, but I never did because it was too fucking hard and it was too easy to leg lock him. I feel that way a lot about some like you'll kind of neglect the rest of your game.
Have you ever used any type of leg lock type games or someone tried to use them on you inside an MMA cage?
Yeah. My like maybe fourth or fifth fight, that dude tried to leg lock me several times. I kept getting out like rudimentary defenses, you know, back in the day, like pulling the leg off, you know, like I guess it'd be like the outside leg in the ashi.
Yeah.
Pull it off and rotate, you know, spin, you know, away from the hill, you know. Well, pretty rudimentary shit.
It wasn't the most complex leg attacks.
But the dude was trying to just heel. He was just heel hook.
Kind of like what you were describing with
you. He was trying to heel hook.
He was doing that to you.
Yeah, I kept getting out and beating him up and finally ended up knocking him out. But like, yeah, that's the only time really that I've been. It's just not as popular in MMA. Because like it's kind of like I've seen guys do it, but it's like kind of like you live by the sword, you die by the sword a little bit in a sense that like I've seen guys like get it, and then I've also seen them.
All those guys who specialize in it a little bit have also been knocked the fuck out a lot.
Doing it, yeah.
It doesn't always go good.
It depends too. It's like like I said, it's double-edged sword here, man. Like you kind of.
I interviewed Jonathan Ivey, heavyweight.
Yeah,
and he's the leg lock master guy for the heavyweight division. He never made it to the UFC, but he's fought.
Yeah, he's got good leg lock.
He's got good,
especially for a big guy. Yeah,
yeah, and he's not really that tall. He's a real interesting little, strong as hell.
Yeah, he fought a lot of guys.
He fought a lot of legendary names.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
but he would always go for leg locks.
There's another guy that did the same thing. He's a really good grappler too. Joe Bass, you know him?
Oh yeah,
he fought him, man. He leg locked a lot of guys, but he also got fucked up a few times.
Sure, yeah.
You know, like, but he fought a lot of good guys. Lima fucked him up pretty good, but like, you know, I'm not blaming on the leg lock so much that because them guys might have fucked you up anyway. Like Douglas Lima fuck you up a lot of fucking different ways.
Yeah,
that dude's a badass.
I actually interviewed Joe Bass once, and I got to train with him once. in Gracie, Kentucky.
He is really good.
Oh yeah, he seems to be good with those.
Yeah,
and it's not.
You know what's funny about Joe Bass too? Like
coal miner, or he was.
I remember,
maybe now he's a cop.
I remember at like tournament I went to, he was in the tournament, and I remember I didn't know shit about him, and I remember being like, "Damn, he's a fucking leg locking motherfucker. He'll leg lock that shit out." He did break a dude's foot in that actual tournament. The dude kind of broke his own foot because he was fucking up trying to get out. He had him like a straight ankle, like a toe hold, and the dude put his foot heel on his. So he like made the power more. He really fucked up and broke his own foot. But then like Joe Bays like was that he was beating people. It was kind of like for me, I was like, damn, he's like actually a good grappler. Because he actually like wasn't doing as much leg locks and like.
So he can do that.
I was like, fuck, because I always thought Joe Bays is
just a leg lock guy.
Yeah, he's kind of a good grappler, but he's really good at leg locks. But then I see him in a tournament, I was like, no, this motherfucker, he's got it all, He's actually a lot better too, I think. Or he had a little while where he got like I don't know what he's doing now.
I think he may have become a cop.
Yeah, but he had a little while where he was up in he was taking on some big names.
Oh, in the grappling, in the submission grappling, world, EBI and all that.
Yeah, he was up in there. Yeah,
Joe Bays. Anyone watching this show from anywhere across the country, if you follow submission grappling,
I think
you might know who he is.
Yeah, and I think he was in with like the nice guys, wasn't he?
He was
the same little. Yeah, them fucking guys are good.
He was also at one point in with Josh Johnson and them too.
Yeah, a little under them. Yeah,
it's somehow something like that.
Uh-huh.
So good stuff. Well, BJ, I appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah.
Once again, Triumph Combat really is right across from St. X High School off Poplar Level Road.
Yeah.
What's
and
the address?
Hey, they're doing some fights this weekend too in New Albany.
Who? Oh, that's right. Damon is.
Yeah, Omni fights. It's all kickboxing card.
Okay.
Saturday night. Our Lady of Perpetual Hops. Yeah, it's gonna be good. They got
is that like a little
4 or 5 fighters
brewery?
On there from the gym? Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
I'm gonna be cornering them. It's gonna be fun.
Awesome. You guys can have any MMA fighters?
Yeah, we got a couple. We got Anthony McCormick right now.
Oh, Anthony McCormick. That's right.
Yeah.
LFA winner. He'll be fighting for the Hard Rock card. So I assume he'll.
Yeah, and Alex,
August
Big
9th,
Alex, the fucking
Colette.
Yeah, he's fucking good too.
Sure.
They got a lot of good guys. Like I said, I'm excited to get in there and work with these guys. These are guys that are excited to work with me. We're gonna have a lot of fun. And like I said, we're starting fresh. We don't have that big a jiu-jitsu program right now, but that's good.
You guys got a kids program?
No.
Okay.
Not yet. But I want to get one, yeah. But I think it's actually I like it. It's just a better challenge, and I get to build it from the ground up and make it my own, right? If say I was to take over a jiu-jitsu program that had 100 members, they're gonna be in their ways. They might be they've had the same coach.
Mm-hmm.
They might not. I've seen this happen before and it not work out very well.
Sure.
For big gyms, you bring in a coach and it's just they're not vibing.
Sure.
With that, so
you get to build it organically, mold it in the image that you're going after.
Exactly. From day one. Yeah. And I like that. I'm excited about that because that's something that I kind of had been missing, because I haven't been teaching jiu-jitsu or running my own program.
Sure. Yeah.
So
I can see it being a very rewarding thing. I know a lot of gym owners or people who have nice jiu-jitsu programs like that.
Yeah. And I just want to get a jiu-jitsu team together, my own jiu-jitsu team. You know what I mean? I think we could make some waves.
You'll have some guys competing.
Oh yeah. Pretty soon, probably. We got some good guys, man. I'm telling you, man. There's a couple guys that I'm really oh shit.
I love it. Well, BJ, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate you. I want to say thank you to everyone for tuning in. Of course, we will have another episode of the Kelly Patrick Show out soon. Thank you.